Okay, because I didn't.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. And I am so honored and grateful for today's guest and Nola Peacock. You can see her there. Tell you a little bit about Nola. Nola specializes in supporting women who have been diagnosed with cancer so they can focus on their healing journey and shift from being overwhelmed, afraid, and anxious to calm and empowered. Welcome, Nola.
Thank you, Sheena. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am honored and grateful for our friendship, first of all and foremost.
Mhm.
And secondly, also for allowing this time so we can both be vulnerable today and just talk about finding our blessings. Now, in the introduction of the whole podcast about finding your blessings, it's actually the whole purpose was for me to find my blessings, and my blessings seem to be in people like you being in my life. So that's how this all evolved, because in your darkest times, that's when we seem to forget our blessings. And so for us to have a conversation today, I feel like my head is a little bigger than your head, so I'm going to push. There, now we're better. We're going to talk about finding our blessings from your point of view, and then just have a conversation, and we're going to let it flow, because flow is the best way to have any conversation. But the first question in the whole scope of Nola's life, can you share with us some of the biggest? I used to use the word failures, and recently I have changed it to lessons in your life and in business that you can share with us. Can we just have a conversation about it?
Okay. Well, I've had a few. I
As in,
think,
yes.
um, I think one of the biggest ones was losing my daughter, Sabrina. So she was born still at term, and
Mm.
it had taken me, several years to get pregnant with her. Was so excited, right? And I mean, as I said, term, right? So it's, just,
Mhm.
and yeah. And then her being born still, it was devastating. And, up until that point, I mean, I had been, a pediatric oncology nurse. And so, like very analytical. I mean, I have always had a big heart. That's why I wanted to work with kids, but I only really believed in, what we could see, right? Not the other side. And so with losing Sabrina slowly, I started to, I wonder, right? Could it be possible? And um, yeah, so she was the one who helped me to open up to the idea that there is more than what we can just see, the physical. And a friend, a dear friend, helped me in a meditation to connect with her spirit.
Mm.
And, at first I'm like, oh, I'm just making this up. Except that the things that she said to me that were coming through, it's like I would not have said to myself, because at the time I had so much guilt. It's like, here, I'm a mother and I'm carrying her inside me. And like, what did I do wrong? And she was so reassuring, and that was her journey. And yeah, it was incredible. And so and the other part, there were so many lessons she taught me about judgment, right? Because I had people, yeah, well, actually it was a family member telling me that I shouldn't talk about her, and right, and this is how I should do it. And it's like, what do you like? No, like that, that I needed to talk
She
about
was
her,
a
and I
part of
needed,
you.
right? And yeah, so it's like, what, judgment, like, until you walk through somebody's shoes, like you don't know. And I mean, and I thought I had a pretty good idea what it might be like, because I had worked in pediatric oncology. I had sat with kids as they took their last breath, right? And I know how it was for me, but it, again, it's like I had no idea, right? When it's your child 24/7, it's like, oh. So she really taught me about judgment. And then the other gift was um the only way that I could get through that was to, again, find the blessing, right? Turn it into something positive. So I created a meditation for moms or parents who have lost a baby or a child, so that they could connect with their baby spirit. So, right.
Oh
So,
my.
yeah, again, so many, one of the most difficult things that I have ever gone through, and yet, it's been such a blessing. And knowing that she is with me, all the time, it's like, okay, right. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You're right. I'm going to say society or people in our past have conditioned us to say, shh,
Mhm.
it'll go away, it'll get better. But really carrying that without speaking it, it's that is part of you. That energy needs to flow with you because she was you,
Yes. Yeah.
and I always, when I trained young moms, where they're trying to lose weight as they're pregnant, or, be fit as they can as they're pregnant, I'm like, whoa, like right now, your responsibility is for this person, this energy who's growing within you.
Right.
Like, and so that connection starts. And I've never been a mom, and yet I totally feel Sabrina's presence.
Mhm.
Like, I can feel she's with you all the time.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I kind of feel like the little peacock in your background, like that's almost a very much a symbolism of her energy,
Mhm.
in the beautiful little details
Mhm.
is what makes the peacock beautiful. And that little detail in your life makes Nola who she is.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
And out of all the people, with all the people I've interviewed so far with finding your blessings and looking at our greatest lesson, or I like that word failure definitely is going away because we attach meaning to it as bad, but
Right.
really it is.
Mhm.
And most of the people have told me through death was their greatest blessing.
Mhm.
I find that just absolutely peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I mean, as you were saying that, right? That it comes through death, and you kind of think, "Ugh," right? And yet it's like it's so true. And I think I mean, society, we're so afraid of death, right? And yet we're all gonna go, right? Like we're not
Yeah.
here forever. Um, and so yeah, it'd be nice if we could get, more comfortable with it and be able to talk and share about it, and
Mhm.
right, and then find the blessings, right? And
It's
yeah.
so true. And oh man, but just when you were talking about that, her short life to have such big energy, to have such an impact.
Yeah.
Think about that. We have to live a lifetime to have the same impact.
Right. Right. Well, and that was one of the first things, that really came to me after she had passed away, was that, because really I was the only one who knew her, right? And it's like, I don't want her life to be for naught. Like it's like, I don't want her to be forgotten. Like it, she had such meaning for me. And it's like, I have to keep that going. It's like, that was my biggest fear. I don't want her to be forgotten. So yeah, it's like she
And
was.
so it is.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so
So
it is. I
Well, and
love,
one of my girlfriends was a labor and delivery nurse. And I remember her telling me that she had shared Sabrina's story with several, several moms over the years that had also had a stillbirth, and how it had helped them. And I just thought, right, I was so grateful. It's like, right, Sabrina has touched so many hearts, and that makes me happy.
yeah, exactly. Big
Yeah.
energy for a short period of time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing and being vulnerable with that story. So, my next question is biggest successes. Um, Success, we also think of that as good or bad. Most of us think of success as good, but can you share something in business or life?
Well, I think so. What popped in when you first said that, and I think, of course, everybody's definition of success is different, right? But what comes to me is that, um, 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's a whole other story. Um, and I'm moved through it, I think, with grace. I mean, many people have said that. Then last June, right, I found out that the cancer had metastasized to my bones, right? So stage 4 cancer, right? I'm like, and for probably a week or 10 days, I was in a very dark space, and I just thought, okay, this is it. I'm just, let's just plan my funeral, and who am I giving my stuff away to? And then I just thought, there was that little light inside of me, and maybe,
Mm.
probably Sabrina, going, no, you're not done. You're not done. There's a lesson here. And so I went deep, and realized that I had been holding on to a lot of grief and guilt over the patients that I had looked after, the little ones that had cancer. And it's like, it wasn't fair, right? They're so little, like, what the heck? And why am I still here? And I think that was um a big aha for me, and being able to release that. And then, what was so wonderful about it was afterwards, over several days, I had some of their spirits visit me. And
Mm.
um so what I've realized too is just, um being faced with, end of life. It's like, well, wait a minute. And it's like, okay. And it's like, now every day it's like, okay, what do I want, my day to be like? What is it, right? Because I know my time's limited. I mean, for all of us it is, but it's like really, and been shoved in my face. And so, I make choices every day as to, who I'm spending time with, what I'm going to do, and so, my success is, I've realized that I am happier these days than I have been in years, and probably for most of my life. Like, it's like, oh, right. And you think, again, it's like that, death and being that gift, but it's like, huh, isn't this interesting? Here I have stage 4 cancer, and yet I am happier and finding, and I think it's got me to just be more in the moment and just enjoy those magical moments in the day, right? Like, just sitting and like yesterday, sitting outside and watching, the birds flying into our tree and listening to them chirp. It's just like that, lights me up. And whereas before I was probably, too busy to notice. So yeah, so I think that's my biggest success, is being able to, again, to turn things around and just really live, right? And it doesn't have to be a great big huge trip, or a bunch of money
Right.
or whatever. It's just those little magical moments every day. Or like my daughter doing a high tea for my mom and I for Mother's Day. I mean, just the little details, like the fancy napkins and the special cookies, and right. And it's just like, oh, I get so
Oh
lit up.
man.
So right, that feels like my success. And that's why I want to work with women that are going through, whether it's cancer or some other, diagnosis. It's like, let's turn things around and just, whatever time we have left, like, let's enjoy it, right? The magic.
So true. I like this whole podcast actually stems from me being a billet mom.
Mhm.
And I was extremely heartbroken that these boys were leaving. And I know that they're not coming back in our life. See, I'm gonna cry. But I feel like these moments, each moment that we had was an opportunity for me to get to know me
Mhm.
even more because they they were so present and cared about, like, I didn't know kids knew this, but they were so in the moment and
Mhm.
found like excitement, joy. They were challenging, but they were so driven by living now that I realized, holy crap, I'm always worried about tomorrow or, living in the past. That when I found out they were leaving, I was like, I need to cherish these moments because there's no guarantee they'll be here tomorrow. And then I was thinking about life. And it is because of those boys. I was always thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. What are people going to think? Like putting the story behind it. And when they were leaving, Mikkel actually said to me, Sheena, go for it. Go for it.
Right.
Life's too short. And
Mhm.
he's 19.
Wow. Wow.
I
So wise for,
You're
right?
right. And
Mhm.
he's 19.
Mm. Yeah.
Like I was like, he's right. And those moments, I have, I will never forget the lessons.
Mhm.
But now the moments of sharing these stories with you, spending this time with you, it is so now that like my heart is just like
Right.
growing. And I feel like the whole world will also feel our hearts
Mhm.
grow
Yeah.
because we have so much love to give.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love your story. But,
Uh,
and so there's so many times that people want to just hang on to the story.
mhm.
But the story we feel sort of helps us. But in the same sentence, it actually takes you to it keeps you small.
Mhm. Yeah. We can get stuck in our stories, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you sort of bridged like, what do you love to do? But in the whole scope of things, what does Nola love to do?
Um, well, I love helping others, like cheering them on. I think I'm other people's biggest cheerleader, right? Like when you said, that the billet had said, Sheena, go for it. I'm like, right. And I love doing that for other people. And so as I, said before, that's why I want to help other women who have some kind of diagnosis and just to live their best life. And that's why, I also still do some work with kids, right? Because um, when they're struggling with their confidence, right? And they're, hiding and not wanting to, step out there and be who they are, right? That breaks my heart. So yeah, being able to cheer people on and yeah, live life full on, right? And just take those risks and
So what
and
does
magical moment.
that helping others, how does that feel it feed your soul?
Um, well, it's sharing that love. And I think also um as I'm doing it for others, it helps me too to go, oh yeah, okay, I'm right. It's like I need to walk my talk here, right? So and I think when we, what we teach or what we share with other people, right, is what we need the most. So it's, as I'm encouraging other people, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm telling them they can do it. So I guess I could too, right? So yeah, it helped. It really does.
So
So it's
true.
it's a
Thanks.
win. It's a win-win, right?
And I know you've helped me tremendously. I love our Reiki sessions, and I feel always so empowered when I'm on your table. And
Mm,
I've always felt so safe and comforted and loved.
thank
So
you.
it is it is a gift that I feel I can be me when I'm with you.
Well, and that's what I love, right? I want people to just be who they are. And I think that's one of the things that I see. Because I think back even when I was nursing, right? And I loved those kids. I treated them like they were, family, right? And we would get our nurses report at the beginning of our shift, and sometimes other nurses would talk about these difficult kids and whatever. And there's part of me, I'm thinking, well, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm like, I don't I don't think they're difficult. And I think, that's one of the things, because I see people for who they really are. Beyond the behavior and stuff, I can see their soul, or their and I also, like, I will meet people where they're at, right? So these kids, like, I mean, who wouldn't be cranky, right? Here these kids are like, I was cranky going through chemo and radiation, like, give me a break. And so, and these kids, like, I remember, one in particular, and he would let me do, unpleasant procedures without any argument. Yet he would fight other nurses. And it's like why, right? And I mean, at the time I didn't really think about it, but now reflecting, it's like, but I met him where he was at, right? He didn't have to be strong, or he didn't have to be any certain way for me. I just accepted him where he was. And so, that's what I love, is just that connection. And it's like let's just be who we are, right? And I want to thank you, Sheena, because you sharing with me how my Reiki sessions have affected you, right, has kind of, because for a while I sort of put that aside, right, that, and fear of being judged, right, or whatever, the woo woo stuff or whatever. And thanks to you, like, I just feel like, no, I'm totally embracing it. So it doesn't matter what people think. I'm going to talk about the energy, and like, and my daughter Sabrina, like, she is here with me all the time, and people can think what they want, but so I want to thank you for
Yeah. Well, I learned that from the boys. They loved the unedited version of Sheena.
right.
And these are kids who they didn't care about a story,
Right. Yeah.
really. So the story is us thinking we need to edit ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized, like, because it was Sam and I were having a conversation every night. They would come up and have their cereal or whatever. And I would stay up because I knew I could have these hugely deep conversations with each one of them individually. And one night, Sam, we were talking about, like, I kept on saying, I'm so grateful that you live with us. Like, I'm so grateful for this time. But then I went a step further, going, but why am I so grateful? I've had 7 other billets, but why am I so grateful? And that's where the magic actually happened. Whereas, where if reflected, not that Sam fulfilled my need, it was that I realized what I got to do was be unedited. I got to be Sheena the way Sheena is supposed to be. They allowed me to hug them before every game. Like, they came looking for their hugs because I just wanted to cherish each moment. And
Mhm.
that's where I realized who I was, because they let me see the unedited version of me. So I met them where they are.
Mhm.
So they got your patience actually helped you see who you are.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that. You're the unedited version of most of us. Like
Right?
we're divinely perfect in that time.
Mhm.
I just love it.
Me too. Me too.
I know we're like, ooh. Now, you sort of answered you. I know what you love to do. And now, how did you take what you love to do and bridge it in your business? Because I see how you
Mhm.
coming to help people, and then now you do Reiki, and you also help do counseling, right?
Coaching. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, bringing it all together, using like essential oils and principles from law of attraction and right. And shifting energy, like being able to, um, it was like, we can spend months in therapy and talking and write about our story, right, and get stuck in that, or energetically we can release that, right, that energy. And I love being able to do that, and I love how things can switch. And it was like, when I had found out that the cancer had spread and I went into that dark space, and I was, as I said, I was there for about a week, 10 days. And then it was just like, I did actually an Akashic Records reading with someone. And that was, when I realized that I was holding on to that grief, and guilt, and being able to release it. And it was like flipping a switch. And I was like a new person. Right. And in fact, somebody said to me, well, do you think you're in shock? Like, like, like what
Once
happened?
again, that's judgment again. Like
Right. But
they
it,
have an
but it was
expectation.
like, and so that's, I love being able to help people do that. So, you know, just recently, like bringing all of that together, right? Instead of being like, oh, I can't share that with people. They're going to think I'm great, right? So yeah, it's being able to do that. And then I love being creative, right? So, I love playing on Canva and doing things. So using that too, right, to build worksheets and things like that for my clients. It's like, oh, this is so fun. So somebody may, ask me a question, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, so let's put together something. And yeah.
Oh,
So
nice. I
it's just
love how
all
you,
right. All of those things that are fun to do. It's like, okay, let's
I love
bring.
that.
Mhm.
You're, I know you and I are both familiar with Jennifer Longmore's work, and she always said there's 3 points in the old world, or the old version of us was suffering, sacrifice, and savior syndrome or lifestyle. And now you can suffer, you have to sacrifice your life, and you have to be saved by someone, or you can look at this as a time of possibilities.
Mhm.
And that alone is, when I think about the word possibilities resonates with me as well, because possibilities means you're growing. It's growth. It's like looking for the sunshine, looking for the rainbow through the clouds. That will keep us going
Mhm.
for years more than looking into darkness
Mhm.
for where's that door going to close.
Right.
That's going to hit you in the face.
Mhm.
And that is all energy. It's energy.
Right.
It is looking up. It is looking out. It is looking forward. And I
Mhm.
think, I really truly believe it is the way we will find peace.
Mhm.
Peace. And it seems like everyone's looking for joy, peace, happiness. No one ever says, oh, geez, like everyone's thriving for the same thing. And just looking forward that is the secret, is that energy, looking forward.
Yeah.
Add all the words attached to it. Oh, we could go down another rabbit hole. But now, here is the big question.
Oh,
Today, right at this moment, in time and space and energy, Nola, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful that I got to spend this time with you. And as I'm sitting here and having this conversation, just I feel like my body is buzzing, like the energy, right? So yeah, sharing the love and the joy. And yeah, I'm so grateful. And it's only what, 10:30,
Yeah, we have a
right?
whole
Like,
day to go.
and I've still got the day, and I'm like, woohoo.
So let's go one more layer of
Okay.
why this connection gives you the feeling of gratitude.
Okay. Well, because connecting with you this morning again has reminded me about, looking forward and those opportunities, the possibilities, right? And so, as I sit here and thinking, once we're finished, it's like, how am I going to move through my day? It's like, oh, right. It's like, and just, keeping this energy going, right? Sharing that love and, being true to myself. And I think one of the things, um, I'm grateful for with this connection is, like having this time with you has filled my heart. It's really filled my heart. And it's like, okay, and I can continue, right? I get to choose now, right? Whether I keep doing it, right? Making sure that so yeah. So that's my why.
Thank you. Because this is the other layer of gratitude that I learned from the boys is, yeah, we can be grateful, but if we don't connect, I'm grateful for you, but if we don't connect our energy back into that gratitude,
Mhm.
it's weird, almost like taking a cup and then, oh, I'm grateful for you, but not realizing how it fills us up. And that I have been exploring that a little bit more. I always ask, but why am I grateful?
Mhm.
And that's where it lands,
Mhm.
and then it gives me that forward momentum that fills my heart.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing, because it's one thing to go, I'm grateful for, and whatever
Right.
it is. But when you ask that why, right? When we ask that why, as you said, that's when it lands. That's when we feel it, right? And that's what changes our energy, right? It's not saying I'm grateful for the rain or what, right? It's
Right.
when you, right, when you ask me that why, it's like, oh, right. Then, as you said, it landed and I felt it. And it's like, oh, right. And then that changes my vibration. And that's what's going out to, right, around me
And it
and me,
comes
right?
up, it filled my heart and your heart. So the visualization, when you said why, I felt like, can you see my hand? You
Mhm.
were reaching your hand out with the gratitude. And then I'm like, but bring it back in is the why. And that is, it literally was something that came as you were saying it, is we need to be married or
Mhm.
brought together with the energy. Even though I knew you mean that,
Yeah.
sometimes the why has to be the flow.
Well, when you asked me the why, that was when it really landed, right? When I really felt it,
Yeah.
right? And it's that, and as we're talking, I'm just thinking that um heart connection, right? Like my heart to yours and yours to mine, and just, yeah, right. And just
And
really
what
feeling it. Mhm.
the Heart Institute, what is it say?
Yeah,
Uh, Heart, yeah, isn't it 2 miles of our heart energy can be felt 2 miles away from us?
right.
So we're about 2 or 3 kilometers, about 2 miles away from each other right now. So
Yeah,
can you imagine 2 miles? The people that you around you are now affected, and around me, we have created a positive ripple in our community.
yeah.
And
Woo!
to me, that
Got goosebumps.
yeah, it does. And I know both of us are on the same I can't say that word,
Trajectory.
trajectory.
Mhm.
And we don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we
Yeah,
know we're moving forward with love.
yeah,
And that we can look at it as, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, with possibilities. And all of a sudden, the little girl in me goes, I'm so
yeah.
excited.
Well, it's as you're saying that, I'm thinking, I wonder what tomorrow will bring, right? Oh,
Right.
having, right?
Oh, yeah,
The
I
press.
love it. And
Mhm.
that's the whole purpose behind this is we all have blessings. And even in our darkest times, those little blips are there to show us how good it can be.
Mhm.
I know when you're in it, it doesn't feel that way.
No.
But it's when you are at this side of it, and like you're here to help people see the other side, that there
Mhm.
is a bigger blip with goodness and love.
Right.
I feel the same way.
Mhm.
And I think the world is going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to follow our path.
Right. Well, and
Ex-
that's really, really, that's all we can do is surrender, right? We want to have control and go, okay, this is exactly how it's going to go, but that's, that's not going to happen. So being open and, cherishing those moments, right?
right? I
Really,
agree.
I mean, because we only have right now, right?
Right?
So,
Oh, and I want to thank you for being authentic. Um, just being you, because I love you to death. I always have. And I was actually reflecting how long I've known you. I think I've known you for almost 10 years.
has it been that long?
I
Wow.
went back through Facebook feeds.
I know
And
about
I
great
know, good old
birthday.
Facebook. And so
Mm,
in the 10 years I've known you, I honor everything you've gone through. And I thank you and I love you. I'm gonna cry.
no,
You're a beautiful person. And thank you for being in my life, because
thank
you make it better.
you. You make mine better.
Okay. But
I know.
these are happy tears. These are very
Happy,
happy tears,
right?
because you bring me sincere joy.
Mhm. Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thank
you are perfect all the time in my eyes.
you.
So you're Nola Peacock. So
Thank you.
now,
Thank
as
you.
we wrap up, can you just give, where can people find you on the socials if they want to find out more, follow you? I know you have a great download for people going through cancer, because I've given it to several friends, and they said it was very beneficial to have that handbook of things that they can expect. Where can they find you? And I'll put it in the show notes as well. Um,
Mm.
and in the meantime, you could just give us a little blurb.
Okay, well, my website is nolapeacockcoaching.com. So can find that, and that's where they can find the ebook if they're navigating a cancer journey. And then social media, probably the best page right now is just my personal page, Nola Peacock. And I've been sharing lots of inspirational posts every day. There's one on there. So
I love
um,
it.
yeah, check that out, and yeah, reach out. If you just want to chat, like go onto my website and book a call with me, and right, we can see what I can do to help, and whether it's me or guide you in the right direction, or if you just need somebody to listen, right? Sometimes we just need somebody that sees us and hears us, right?
It's true.
Mhm.
You've helped me.
You've helped me.
Ah, all right. And thank you again for your time. I honor you. And uh, I I want us to have a fabulous day. And I wish you much love, joy, success, and happiness.
Thank
Okay.
you. Right back
Thank
at
you.
you.
Okay. I receive. All right. Bye. I'm trying to. Oh, there it is.